Here is a fact that shocks many people. The biggest fear in the world, greater than the fear of flying, greater than the fear of heights, and even greater than the fear of death for some people, is the fear of speaking in front of others. Yes, public speaking, and even simple conversation in a second language can feel more terrifying than almost anything else. Think about that for a moment. Millions of students around the world are not just afraid of English grammar or vocabulary tests. They are afraid of using their voice, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of being judged. Now, if you are an English teacher, or maybe a student yourself, you already know how real this problem feels. A student may understand words on paper. They may read a story silently. But when it comes to opening their mouth and actually speaking, suddenly the brain freezes. The tongue feels heavy, the heart beats fast, and the mind whispers, "What if I sound stupid?" That single thought can kill confidence in seconds. And the sad part is that so many students carry this fear with them every day. They avoid conversations. They miss opportunities at school, at work, even in relationships, just because they never got the right kind of speaking practice in a safe, encouraging way. Here's the mystery I want to invite you into. Why is it that some students, even with less vocabulary, can speak fluently, confidently, and clearly, while others who know more grammar rules and memorize more words still cannot say one full sentence without stumbling? What secret do confident speakers know that shy learners do not? And what can teachers and students do starting right now to break that invisible wall of silence? The truth is, speaking fluently is not about being perfect. It's about practicing in the right way, in the right environment, with the right activities that push you gently forward without breaking your spirit. And that is exactly what we're going to uncover together in this lesson. You are about to discover 10 of the most powerful speaking activities that teachers around the world are already using with success. These are simple, adaptable activities that work for children, teenagers, and adults at all levels. If you are a teacher, these activities will transform your classroom. If you are a student, you can use them with a partner or even practice some of them alone. And here's the urgency. Every day you delay practicing speaking, your fear grows stronger. But every time you practice with the right activity, your confidence grows faster than you think. The choice is yours. Stay stuck or step forward into freedom. So stay with me until the end, and if you want more lessons like this, make sure to subscribe, because this journey can change not just your English, but your life. Speaking is the heartbeat of language. Without speaking, a language is like a song never sung, a story never told, but speaking is also where students feel the most exposed. They can hide in writing. They can hide in listening, but when they speak, their voice is out in the open. That is why teachers must create activities that feel safe, natural, and motivating. Let's take a journey through 10 of the best speaking activities, but not as a dry list. Instead, let's walk through real classrooms, real stories, and real lives where these activities come alive. The power of pair conversations. Imagine Sarah, a high school student in New York City. She loves reading English novels, but when her teacher asks her to share her opinion in class, she freezes. Her mind is full of ideas, but the pressure of 20 classmates staring at her is too much. One day, her teacher introduces pair conversations. Instead of speaking in front of everyone, Sarah just speaks to one partner, another student named Maria. The topic is simple. What did you eat for breakfast? Sarah hesitates, but Maria smiles and says, "I ate pancakes." That small, safe exchange becomes the spark. In a pair, Sarah feels less judged, more relaxed, and slowly she begins to open up. Pair conversations are powerful because they reduce the fear of performance. They create a smaller stage. Students practice real questions and answers. What's your favorite movie? Where do you want to travel? The sentences are short, but the impact is big. A teacher can walk around, listen, and encourage. This is not about grammar correction. It is about building the courage to use your voice. Psychology tells us that fear shrinks when exposure grows. Each pair conversation is a tiny exposure, a safe rehearsal for real life. Storytelling and imagination. Now picture John, a young professional in Chicago. He studied English for years, but never felt confident speaking at meetings. His boss once asked him to share a small update, and his voice shook. Later, his teacher gave him a different exercise, storytelling. John was asked to tell a short story about his childhood, even if his grammar was not perfect. He began, "When I was 10 years old, I built a treehouse with my brother." His classmates listened, laughed at the funny parts, and asked questions. For the first time, John felt the joy of being listened to, not just corrected. Storytelling activates imagination, memory, and emotion. When students tell stories, they are not just practicing words, they are practicing identity. They learn to say, "This is who I am. This is my world." Neuroscience shows that stories light up more areas of the brain than facts alone. That is why we remember stories long after we forget numbers. When students tell personal or creative stories, they learn to connect their voice to their feelings. And that is the secret of fluency. Not perfect words, but connected words. Role-playing, real life. Then there is Michael in Los Angeles. He dreams of starting a business, but his English speaking holds him back. In class, his teacher organizes a role play, ordering food at a restaurant. Michael becomes the customer. Another student is the waiter. "Hello, may I see the menu?" he says. At first, it feels silly, like acting in a play. But after repeating the scene several times, he realizes something amazing. He can now walk into a real restaurant and use the exact same sentences. Role-playing prepares students for the real world. Role-play works because it combines imagination with practicality. Students step into roles they may face tomorrow, a job interview, a doctor's appointment, a friendly chat with a neighbor. By practicing the dialogue, they rehearse life. The fear decreases because they already walked through the scene in a safe classroom. Teachers should not focus on perfection here, but on authenticity. The more natural the scene feels, the more useful the practice becomes. The magic of small presentations. Another activity that changes lives is the mini presentation. At first, the idea sounds terrifying. Standing in front of others, speaking for 2 minutes. But here's the secret. When presentations are small, short, and supported, they build massive confidence. A student can present their favorite hobby, a picture of their family, or even a short recipe. Think of Sarah again. After weeks of pair work, her teacher asks her to present for 1 minute about her cat. Sarah brings a photo, smiles nervously, and begins. "This is my cat, Luna. She is white and gray. She loves sleeping on my bed." Her classmates clap, and she realizes she survived. More than survived, she enjoyed it. That 1 minute is a victory. Success psychology teaches us that small wins create momentum. Each mini presentation is a small win that slowly makes public speaking less frightening, debate, and friendly arguments. But what about advanced students who want a challenge? Here enters the power of debate, not the angry kind, but friendly debates on interesting topics. For example, is it better to live in the city or the countryside? Students pick sides and explain their reasons. They must listen, respond, and think quickly. This sharpens fluency because it forces real-time speaking. John once joined a debate in class. At first, he worried about making mistakes, but soon he was laughing, defending his opinion about why pizza is better than burgers. The room filled with energy. Debates teach critical thinking, but also courage. You learn that your opinion matters even if your grammar is not perfect. And teachers must remind students, clarity is more important than perfection. The power of questions. Another often overlooked activity is question circles. Students sit in a circle and each one must ask the next a question. For beginners, the questions are simple. What's your favorite color? For higher levels, they become deeper. What's a moment that changed your life? Questions teach curiosity. They teach students to listen, not just speak. And most importantly, they mirror real conversations. In real life, good communication is not giving a speech. It is asking, listening, and responding. Michael once joined a question circle. Someone asked him, "What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years?" He thought for a moment and replied, "I want to start my own company." In that moment, English was no longer a subject. It was a bridge to his dreams, games that spark joy. Let us not forget the power of games. Speaking games like Two Truths and a Lie or Find Someone Who make classrooms come alive. Students laugh, guess, and connect. When the atmosphere is playful, fear melts away. Psychology shows that joy increases learning. The brain remembers better when emotions are positive. Games are not just fun, they are powerful tools to unlock speech. Sarah once played Two Truths and a Lie. She said, "I have 2 sisters. I can play the piano. I met a movie star." Her classmates shouted, "The lie is the piano." The laughter made her forget she was practicing English. That is the secret of games. They trick the brain into forgetting the fear. Pronunciation practice in pairs. Confidence also grows through clear pronunciation. One powerful activity is echo speaking. A teacher says a sentence slowly and students repeat. Then they practice with a partner, listening and correcting gently. For example, "I like ice cream." The student repeats, then says it with different emotions. Happy, sad, surprised. This not only improves pronunciation, but also adds emotion. Speaking is not only about words, but about how you say them. Michael once practiced the phrase, "Can I help you?" in different tones. Happy, polite, tired, angry. He discovered that pronunciation is not boring. It is expressive. His voice became more alive and his confidence followed. Real-world projects. Sometimes the best speaking activity is outside the classroom. Teachers can assign real-world projects, interview a neighbor, record a video diary, or give directions to a friend in English. These tasks connect language to life. John once had to interview a shopkeeper for a project. At first, he was nervous. But after asking 3 questions, he realized the shopkeeper was happy to help. He returned to class glowing with pride. Real projects remind students that English is not just for grades. It is for life, for careers, for friendships. Reflection and sharing, the final activity may seem simple, but it is powerful, reflection. At the end of class, students share one thing they learned or one sentence they liked. This short moment gives closure. It reminds them that every voice matters, and it trains them to speak without fear, even if it is just one sentence. Sarah once ended class saying, "Today I learned I can speak without being afraid." That sentence was short, but it carried the weight of her entire journey. Reflection transforms learning into identity. It tells students, you are not just learning English. You are becoming a speaker. Throughout all these activities, the thread is clear. Speaking fluently is not about perfection. It is about courage, practice, and connection. Teachers must create safe spaces. Students must take small risks. And together, every word spoken is a victory. Now let us weave these lessons into deeper reflections. Why do these activities mark? Why do some students break through barriers while others stay silent? The answer lies in psychology. A human brain hates uncertainty. When you speak a second language, every sentence feels uncertain. That uncertainty triggers fear. But when you repeat activities like pair conversations or role plays, the brain begins to see patterns. Predictability grows. Fear decreases. Confidence increases. It's like training a muscle. Each repetition makes the muscle stronger. Neuroscience also shows that emotion drives memory. That is why stories, games, and debates work better than dry drills. When students laugh, when they share personal stories, when they feel something, the brain remembers. That memory builds fluency faster than memorizing 50 words from a list. But let us not ignore the emotional side. Many students carry shame about their accent or mistakes. They feel they are not good enough. Teachers must break that shame by celebrating effort, not perfection. Every time a student speaks, even with mistakes, it is a victory. Imagine telling a child learning to walk, "You are wrong because you fell." No, we celebrate every step. Speaking English is the same. Celebrate every attempt. And students, remember this. Your accent is not your weakness, it is your story. It shows you are brave enough to speak another language. Do not hide it. Own it. Speak with pride. Now let us return to the mini stories of Sarah, John, and Michael. Sarah, the shy student in New York, found her voice through pair conversations and mini presentations. John, the professional in Chicago, gained confidence through storytelling and debates. Michael, a dreamer in Los Angeles, prepared for life with role plays and pronunciation practice. Each of them represents thousands of students worldwide. Their journeys prove that speaking activities are not just classroom tricks. They are tools for transformation. And what about you? If you are a teacher, imagine your classroom alive with voices. Imagine students laughing, telling stories, debating passionately, sharing reflections. Imagine the pride on their faces when they realize, I can speak. If you're a student, imagine yourself in a job interview, in a cafe, on a trip abroad, speaking with confidence. That future is not far. It begins with one activity, one conversation, one sentence today. Conclusion. As we come to the close of this lesson, remember the heart of what we discovered. Speaking English is not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It is not about perfect grammar or sounding like a native. Speaking is about connection. It is about courage. It is about opening your mouth and letting your ideas, your feelings, your dreams flow into the world. The 10 activities we explored, pair conversations, storytelling, role plays, mini presentations, debates, question circles, games, pronunciation practice, real-world projects, and reflection are more than methods. They are bridges. Bridges from silence to speech, From fear to freedom, from classroom drills to real life. And here is the challenge I leave with you. Do not just listen, do not just watch. Choose one of these activities today. If you are a teacher, bring it into your next class. If you are a student, try it with a friend or even in front of a mirror. Take that small step, because every step you take, every word you speak, pushes fear away and builds the future you want. I want you to remember one simple line. Your voice is your power. Do not hide it. Do not shrink it. Share it. So here is your invitation. For the next 7 days, practice speaking every single day, even if it is just for 2 minutes. Use one of the activities we talked about. Notice how you feel after a week. Notice the courage growing. Notice the pride in your own voice. Your future in English, your opportunities, your relationships, your career, all of it is waiting on the other side of fear. And fear is not as strong as you think. It breaks when you speak. So speak today, speak tomorrow, speak until your voice feels free. Because the world is waiting to hear you, and the only question left is, will you speak?